Vivek Ramaswamy has been making a lot of news, and he had an opinion about this case in particular. And the opinion is the reason why this happened is because of wokeism and because what's the case that where black people get into schools and they
here's the quote. He says because of affirmative action.
affirmative action.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically because of affirmative action is the
Yeah.
reason why things like this happen, because we're giving people of different races, we're giving them privileges over people of the white race, and it's really making the white people mad. So it's this kind of rhetoric and this kind of horrific system that is causing stuff like this. Do you have any opinions whatsoever on Vivek Ramaswamy's comments?
I have a comment on Vivek. Vivek sucks. Like
He does.
he's just the worst of the worst, right? He's like, I know I'm not gonna be president, but I damn sure am gonna get that HUD position that Ben Carson had. Like it's just disgusting. And what's even more disgusting for someone like Vivek and Nikki Haley, but Vivek, because he's really saying these things outward. You're a member of the brown community, and the nerve of you knowing that your goddamn parents got to this country on the back of the civil rights movement. How did the immigrants get here? It's because black people and allies, blood, sweat, tears, lynching after lynching, brutality after brutality. That's how his parents get to walk across and become American. Yeah. That's why he's able to run for president, because of the civil rights. And then here he is talking about, it's because black people are speaking out against injustices, causing injustice against us.
Yeah. Yeah, Vivek Ramaswamy, I've started getting to the conclusion now that this, unless you decide or he does or says something so incredible that you have to cover it, I've really no desire to continue to cover this guy, because he's a sideshow clown.
Yeah.
He's not serious. He's kind of like this tech bro, probably trying to impress his old college buddies and just saying, watch me run for president, watch me say all this stuff.
Just like that.
And this is exactly why I told you before why I can't stand our media sometimes, because I mean, you see this guy on one show, literally you change the channel, he's on the next show. You change the channel, he's on the next show. And all these clowns, they're like, we got to have Vivek on. He's going to say something wild, and he's going to say something that we can put out there. To me, that is just such garbage for this country.
Yeah.
And he now is the hot guy that everybody's going to have on their shows. And he's just going to say something more outrageous, and he's going to do it on purpose, and he's going to sucker people into having him on their shows.
Yeah, he was on Andrea Mitchell.
Yeah.
And Andrea Mitchell has lost a few steps, right?
Yeah.
I like Andrea Mitchell. She had a good run of it. She's not as quick and as fast as she used to be. Doesn't say I'm not saying she's stupid. She's very intelligent. She knows what she's talking. Foreign stuff, that's when she gets real quick.
Yeah.
But like Vivek was just one, he's a misogynist, and he out talks and he's rude and talking over.
Yeah.
So he was allowed, because he's got Andrea, to spew this conspiracy theory and the lies after the lies about, more people die. This is what he said. More people die from the cold than they do from the hot. And that's why we need more the coal industry. And you know what I mean? Because people are dying from the cold.
Yeah. Yeah, he's on an outrageous comment tour that, again, he just wants to get. He's obviously not going to be president. And at first, I was kind of thinking to myself, well, maybe what he's trying to do is he's trying to set himself up for 2028. I personally believe that he is such a clown now that he's even kind of just playing himself out of this. I don't think he even cares whether or not he's
rich, right?
Right. He's loaded. And apparently it's another one. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of one of those guys that would start the Fire Festival. Do you remember the Fire Festival? Okay. So it was a big this huge thing that all these people, when you see on Instagram, they're on their private jets and they're going to go to this big festival, and it's a lot of young people, hot people, and they're all going to go to this big festival that has music and everything. Well, it turned out to be this huge scam, and everybody got there.
Oh, what's his name?
Yes.
What's his name?
It wasn't no, not Master
J
P.
with the J.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, he sings with what's
Not Ja Rule.
Yeah, it is Ja Rule.
Is it Ja Rule? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
yeah, it was him and some of these other
yeah.
kind of bros, and
Yeah.
they were going to get together. And then when they got there wasn't even hotel rooms. There was just a bunch of tents, and it was raining, and they were all wet. And there was the food that they had were just bread with bologna and cheese on it. And a lot of people fell for it. And that's what Vivek Ramaswamy is. He's somebody that a lot of the younger bros are going to fall for because they think he's cool. He talks, and when he speaks, it is clear, and it's sounds like it's got intelligence behind it. So when you talk in that way, it's easy to fool people into thinking that he's some brilliant guy that has now come along.
Because he doesn't sound smart at all.
Well, not too smart people.
Yeah, he overcompensates. So it's like he sounds like a used car salesman that's trying to sell you a lemon. So he doesn't sound smart at all. He sounds like that person who talks real fast and talks over you, so you don't pay attention to the words that he's saying. Like, you don't piece it together, because when you stop and you read it, you're like, this is a bunch of mumbo jumbo. He ain't even saying shit. This is like a fucking Don King type of thing. He's just saying some words. Like,
it's that. It could be just like, because he fancies himself as I guess a rap fan, but it could be like one of those rap songs that sound, when you listen to it, you like, that song was awesome. And then you go back and look at the lyrics and go, those lyrics were stupid.
Yeah, it was the beat that you were really enjoying. It wasn't this song.
Yeah. And by the way, did you see Eminem reached out to him and said, bro.
Good. No, I'm just glad, because he performed an Eminem song before. Like, I'm like, Vivek think he's a rapper too. Did you see that one when Vivek was rapping?
We played it on the show.
Oh, we played him rapping?
Yeah.
Oh, guys, see how much I forget where I see these things.
I remember, well, last week, you didn't even realize we were even on the show, which was awesome. We were already started. You're like, wait, did the show start?
I know.
And then we played the premiere on the show. All right, listen. I talked to Lana a lot off the air. I know she's a very busy woman. This is not me just covering for her. She's very busy. She's got a lot on her mind, a lot on her plate. She's got her own show. So they're all running together.
They do, because I've seen it. I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, on her own show. The clip was on here, and she's like, "Did you see it?" I should have said no. I should have let it keep going.
I would have explained it to you.
Oh, yeah.
People watch you would have been like, "Didn't I just see this on their show?" What's wrong with her?
Well, Eminem has told him to stop. I'm gonna play this one clip here of Vivek. He is with Chuck Todd on Meet the Press, and I remember Meet the Press used to be a very, it used to be a show that you would go to if you really wanted to follow politics. I mean, it was a great show with, oh gosh, who was the host who passed away? I can't remember his name, because he was phenomenal, and I'll probably remember.
Was he kind of?
Say it again. Yes. Yeah.
Chunky, right?
Yeah.
I can see him. I just can't.
Yeah. My brother, if he's watching, text his name to me, because I know he'll remember. But he that's where you would go to watch. And now there was a point where I stopped watching shows like Meet the Press. And it's funny too, and I'm gonna go back to this clip, but I used to literally every single day, I would listen to nothing but conservative radio. And I would listen to it all the time. The Sean Hannity show, the Mark Levin show, there's a guy, Will Cow, I think he was on, it's all on Sirius XM radio. David Webb, he's another guy that was on Fox News. I would actually call into a lot of those shows too. So I was on Hannity like twice, and I talked a few times, because that was back then when as a Democrat, I still want to hear what the other side has to say. And I thought it was fair to at least listen to what they had to say.
Right.
And then the Trump thing started coming along, and it was hard for me to take serious anymore. So
Right.
I just can't listen to it. And that's the reason why I don't watch Meet the Press. Not that Meet the Press isn't a serious show, but because it's become such a clown show and they have these clowns on, and
Yeah.
it's difficult to really pin down somebody when nobody's answering questions.
Right. And that's the point, right? It's like you said, back in the day, Republicans would, they just all was on, everyone was on whatever show would just have them talk.
Yeah.
And they would talk and they would tell the truth, although sometimes it was stretched, numbers were, exaggerated a little bit here and there. But now they just lie. Like it's
Yeah.
just oh, we're having babies in the last term. They just wake up and have an abortion. Like
Right.
just the just yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it gets to a point where they don't press further on their
Right,
lie,
that too.
or
Right,
B, where they just go down a rabbit hole where it's almost impossible to get the answer. And finally,
right,
you just have to give up because
right,
you only have a certain time
right,
segment. You got to
right.
move on to something else and you want to get in all your questions. But here's Vivek Ramaswamy on what he would have done on January 6th.
Couple questions you didn't get a chance to answer at the debate. Most of the candidates on stage Wednesday night said Mike Pence did the right thing on January 6th. Do you agree?
I would have done it very differently. I think that there was a historic opportunity that he missed to reunite this country in that window. What I would have said is this is a moment for a true national consensus where there's two elements of what's required for a functioning democracy in America. One is secure elections, and the second is a peaceful transfer of power. When those things come into conflict, that's an opportunity for heroism. Here's what I would have said. We need single-day voting on Election Day. We need paper ballots, and we need government-issued ID matching the voter file. And if we achieve that, then we have achieved victory, and we should not have any further complaint about election integrity.
So what would,
I would have
you have
driven
done
it through the Senate.
So what would you have done with Mike Pence? You would have not certified the election?
So in my capacity as president of the Senate, I would have led through that level of reform. Then on that condition, certified the election results, served it up to the president, President Trump, then to sign that into law, and on January 7th, declared the re-election campaign pursuant to a free and fair election. I think that was a missed opportunity, but that's the kind of spirit we're going to need to unite this country rather than sweeping those concerns under the rug.
This is the same guy that claims that 18 to 24-year-olds should take a civics class in order to vote. Now, by the way, did you know he never voted in his life until 2016? The first time he ever voted was for Donald Trump. So that tends to happen with
and he mailed it in.
Yes, correct. And
ballot.
That tends to happen a lot with the first time Trump voters is that, again, I know why they voted for Trump. Whatever the reason is, you vote for Trump, fine. But they seem to lack a lot of, knowledge as to either why Donald Trump was a good choice for them, or like Vivek here is saying that on January 6th, he would have just kind of stopped the whole thing. And as the president of the Senate, he would have changed all the rules and he would have put Donald Trump back in office, is essentially what he just said.
Like, it didn't even make any sense. And I would have just served it up to the president to sign.
Yeah. And by the way, that's how you reunite the country. So basically, a president was nominated and won the election, but he's saying his plan to unite the country would be to overturn that election and give it to Donald Trump. Now, let's keep one thing straight here. Is that the election, so a lot of them are saying irregularities during the election, and they're correct. There were irregularities. And the reason why there were irregularities, and it's a language that they use, the word irregularity is correct because COVID changed the rules for how you're going to vote. So it was irregular. It wasn't the regular way that we went through our voting system. However, what and I wish this would be said more. every single person before the election happened, every state, every single congressperson, whoever it was, there were no objections. They knew the new rules going into this election. So now after they lost, they're going, well, it was irregular. We can't have this. So, it's.
Well, here's the thing too, though, Brian. So all throughout, like, I don't know, the history, Republicans voted like by mail, right? Isn't that just something Republicans just did in
Correct.
general?
Donald Trump himself voted by mail.
Right. That's just what they always did. But then once, COVID happened, then Democrats are like, oh,
correct.
Black people of color. Yeah. Oh, we can do this by mail? We didn't know this. Nobody's been shipped. No one shopped that to us. We didn't even know that was a thing because it was just like something white folks were doing.
Right,
They just didn't know for real.
Yeah.
Seriously. And so now they're like crying foul, like, oh no, we can't have this voting by mail thing because there's too many of those people doing it. So we need to change the rules again. It's just like,
yeah. And now they're changing the rules again. So now they figured out there's the Black community that said we can vote by mail. So now they're voting by mail. So they're changing laws in each of these states. This is why we talked about the Voting Rights Act and stuff like this that needs to be passed, is they're making it not, I don't want to say harder, but they're making it more confusing. So if your date of birth isn't written in a certain place on the envelope, your ballot can be tossed out. And I am not 100% saying this is happening. And us, we're not conspiracy theorists, but sometimes maybe you can look at a name and go, throwing that one out. Because,
no, it's true.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. Right. And that's probably what they would do. Absolutely.